Thanks for staying with us. Angry residents shut down Tembisa after Mayor Tania Campbell failed to attend a community meeting on Friday. Police have allegedly shot dead at least 2 people after protesters demanded to pay a flat rate for electricity. A truck was torched on the R21 highway and municipal offices have been set alight. Let's have this conversation now with Zamani Sitole, who's a community leader. Zamani, thank you so much for your time this evening. For someone who does not understand why residents are up in arms, briefly tell us what this protest is about.
Okay, the residents are up in arms because they're not receiving good service from the municipality. So what happened was we represented the community in terms of sending through a memorandum for the mayor and her people to understand what the community is complaining about. The way they are because she didn't come through on Friday to meet the community. So the community was not happy with the fact that she didn't honor the invite.
Now, the mayor says, though, that she wasn't supposed to attend. In fact, she has a team of MMCs and managers that were supposed to attend because she had other pressing matters. She says that she wasn't due at that meeting. Are you saying this is not correct?
That's not what we understood. As a community, we were expecting her to be there. So when she didn't pitch, the community was very upset, and they've been upset throughout this time because they felt like the mayor was not taking them seriously.
Now, some leaders have distanced themselves from this particular protest. Let's talk about then your view as the leadership. Which part of, this protest is the leadership distancing itself from?
You see, what's happening is that statement is actually now the bane of our existence. We are with our community. We're just saying we don't agree with the looting and the criminality that has happened, but we don't disagree with the community protesting. So we'd like to avoid that statement because now it seems as though we don't sympathize with the community's plight, of which it's far from the truth. So that whole statement has actually thrown us under the bus to a point where now we're even afraid to face the community. And we'd just like to clarify as well that us being here, we didn't come here out of our own, we weren't aware what we were being called to. We were just picked up and called by the chief of police to come through to this venue. And then we didn't even know what was going to happen. So we actually came there. But when we got here, we found out that it was just an engagement. But now, we just want to clarify to the community that we didn't come here to have lunch or anything of that nature or to sell them out. In fact, we are so saddened by the passing of the people, the 2 people that we are aware of at the moment in Tembisa. And we sympathize with the community's situation. But now we've come to a point where we need for them to please understand, to please bear with us because we were also afraid when we came here. We didn't even know what they had in store for us. But when we came through here, it was just a negotiation, and the mayor promised that she's going to come this Friday to address the community. So I'm just pleading with the community to understand that we weren't really prepared for what happened today. It wasn't something we had as a program.
Okay, Zamani, I'll get to the number of people in just a moment because we do understand there are some new developments, but let's go to what you're saying. Are you saying that right now you are at loggerheads and you're fighting with the community because they feel like you've sold out?
No, we're not fighting with the community. We just want to clarify that when we did come in, because you have to understand, when you're dealing with a community that is feeling rejected, you have to be really transparent and explain to them what has happened, because if you don't do so, you'll come off as somebody who's being dishonest. So on behalf of the people that are moved here, we just want to make sure that the community is aware that we are really with them, and we were caught off guard as well. We didn't see them.
So, where does this meeting that you had this afternoon, of course it was inclusive of the mayor, where does it put then the issue of this flat rate that the residents are crying about, as well as the other issues that they've raised?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Where does the meeting that you had this afternoon, where does it put the grievances of the community? Zamani? Zamani, are you still there? All right, it looks like we may just be having some trouble with Zamani's line. I'll try it one last time. Zamani, are you still with us? All right, it looks like we are battling now with that audio with Zamani as we're trying to get a sense of where now does this meeting that they had with the mayor and other stakeholders leave the community's grievances. Let's then stay with the story and speak to Kelebogile Thepa, who's the EMPD spokesperson, who joins us now. Thank you so much for your time. What is the latest on the ground?
Good evening to you in studio and the viewers at home. As it stands, roads are still blockaded with burning tires. Protesters have gathered again on various points and, making it very impossible for vehicles to be moving and for us to start with cleaning up the operations.
It's night time. Let's talk about the difficulties that this poses as well, because you now say that they've started gathering. It's making it difficult to be able to clean up. Let's talk about how difficult at ground level this is going to be for the police to do their work.
Extremely difficult, but we can confirm that the South African Police Services have also backed us up and deployed the public order policing in the vicinity. And that, we are still struggling with having other resources come through to assist with what are burning buildings of council.
What do we know about the damage to property so far? Because we know that there was that truck that was torched at the same time, the municipal building, and we saw some video footage purporting to be a substation. What do we know about the extent of the damage to property?
The extent of damages hasn't yet been ascertained, as it's quite difficult to get in. We do not have extinguishers that, once the fire has been...
Now, when we are then looking at, of course, this particular situation, you're not able to get in during the day. There were some, difficulties when it comes to police operations because it looked like police were overwhelmed. Will you be able to cope? Should these protests go throughout the night, do you think police will be able to have the capabilities to deal with this?
The capabilities would again be questioned, but again, we have taken an oath to want to protect and further just ensure the safety and security of those that are the residents of the city of Ekurhuleni, Tembisa to be in particular. So we would be met with great difficulty, but deployment must continue.
There was this afternoon talk of a third person having been killed as well. And speaking to the MMC, my colleague Mbalentle Mthethwa was not able to get a definitive answer. They were still saying that they are aware of two, but they were going to investigate the claim that potentially a third person may have been killed. What do you know so far?
So far, just at the CCC, we have noted two more fatalities as a result of this action. However, it's only alleged that this emanated from an attempted ATM bombing.
All right, you're saying two more fatalities. Does this then mean it's now four?
That we can confirm to be 4 years.
All right. Let's then look at, the deaths that we saw earlier on and talk about the work. Of course, EMPD would then be getting involved here in terms of investigations. But speaking to you, of course, from EMPD, the officers are on the ground. Let's talk about those investigations and how they're unfolding.
From both incidents that we reported, also EMPD was summoned to start the investigation. Again, as the EMPD, the department has commenced its own under the internal affairs unit, where investigations have commenced and would be in a better light to give comment with relation to all that which has transpired.
Should these protests continue for more days, would we see calls for reinforcement?
It certainly would necessitate for a call for reinforcement, but we're just urging to the communities that, already engagements are had with the executive mayor and the leaders of the Tembisa Community Forum, that let's just allow for those processes and feedback to be given to the community, and that, we will then start gathering as to what the sense of moving forward would be.
And I was going to ask you about that meeting, because we do understand that EMPD was part of this particular meeting. Where does that particular meeting now leave this entire process of grievances by the community? You are saying that there is going to be a process of feedback to these communities, and you were hoping that that would be given sufficient space. But you have people that are on the ground that are saying they're tired of talking. So where does this then leave these particular grievances on the ground post that meeting?
The leadership that has been identified or delegated to engage the executive mayor, we want to believe that it was sufficient, that whatever questions they had posed to the executive mayor has now been answered, and that with the feedback that we could just see restoration of calmness, and that, we would, in essence, be in a position to start cleaning up, with the cleaning up process, rather.
I was speaking to Zamani, one of the community leaders, a little earlier on. He talks about looting, because I was asking him exactly what was going on. He mentioned looting. Have you seen or heard of any looting incidents?
Yes, we did witness some looting or rather criminal activities happening. The police were rather met with great vitality that, we couldn't even act upon such. But we just wanted to confirm that minimum force is always paramount with crowd management. But however, elements of criminality cannot be condemned nor tolerated.
We talk about minimum forces. Listening to you then this evening, I know this is still subject of investigations, but what can you tell us about the kind of force that was used when these two individuals, were killed?
One that was reasonable and proportional. However, because the matter is now under investigation, that, we are not ruling anything out. We are allowing for the processes to unfold, where a determination will then be made or given for whatever processes that needs to follow in relation to that, including that of prosecution, that, the judiciary can take a decision without us wanting to impose or rather hindering the process.
I know that you say that it's difficult to get into the communities, particularly looking at the fact that it's nighttime now, but have there been any arrests given what has happened throughout the day?
No, we haven't had any arrests by the members of the EMPD.
So you are standing guard tonight, throughout the night, to ensure that there is no further escalation of the violence, I'm guessing?
That is correct, and we just further urge that, let these processes, which have been suggested by the leadership and the executive mayor and the office and the officials of the city regulating, to unfold, and further that, we would need to, at a given point, found ground of cleaning up and further just allowing for the road to be usable to other road users.
All right, Kelebogile, let's leave it there with you for now. We'll check in a little later on to see how the situation unfolds. That's Kelebogile Thepa, EMPD spokesperson. We do and now can confirm that 4 people have been killed in the protests in Tembisa. And of course, Kelebogile is saying that they do understand that the other 2 people died as a result of an ATM bombing. But of course, we will bring you more details here as police are continuing to investigate. They talk about how difficult the situation is right now as residents have started regrouping. You can imagine it's nighttime, and they say that they've not even been able to clear up the roads. So Tembisa on shutdown once again this evening. We'll continue to bring you more on this developing story.